This is WBSM On Demand.
Welcome back. Welcome back. I'm Chris McCarthy, and we've had some fun here today. But I think it's time to focus on, well, the future and what is going to be the future of the city of New Bedford. And as goes New Bedford, goes the region, right? So there is a power struggle right now in the city council. Every year they reorganize, select a leader, the city council president. And it's always competitive, right? You have 11 politicians, every one of them thinking they could be mayor, right? Most of them, ultimately, if they don't try, they at least harbor the idea that maybe they could be mayor. And they're always trying to figure out what's in their best interest to make them the mayor, right? I mean, you hear them complain all the time, rightfully so, that it's a strong mayor and the city council doesn't have a lot of power and the mayor has all the power. So how do you go from being a member of the city council, one of 11? How do you become a standout member? Well, you get your colleagues to elect you to the presidency. That puts you kind of on an equal footing with the mayor. Not exactly, but it gives you more of a platform, puts you in a weekly meeting with the mayor, and it gives you the opportunity to drive the agenda. Now, you can also do that from a chairmanship in a committee. Let me let you in a little inside baseball here, okay? The Housing Committee, many of you know that didn't exist until Ian Abreu wanted to be the president of the city council. So he created the Housing Committee to get the vote of Ian Abreu. Nothing wrong with that. Probably the Housing Committee was long overdue. Now, they haven't done much with Shane Burgo as the chairman of the Housing Committee. They barely meet. And when they meet, it's just an opportunity for Shane to make political points against the administration and to make the points that his left-wing supporters, the hard left, the Shane Denistas, don't have the opportunity to make, so he makes it for them, right? He's the leader of the Shane Denistas. So that's how Ian Abreu got the presidency. Shane Burgo didn't want to vote for him, but they made a deal, and that's legitimate politics. He said, I want to be the chairman of the Housing Committee that doesn't exist. So Ian Abreu said, that's something I can do. As the city council president, I will make a housing and affordable housing committee, and I'll make you the chairman. Shane Burgo went on to hold almost no meetings, but Ian Abreu, recognizing housing was an issue, made the committee and gave it to Shane, who's done very little with it. But that was how Ian Abreu got the votes. Nothing wrong with that, okay? Now, Shane Burgo today is the chairman of the Affordable Housing Committee, a committee he's done very little with. just go online and look at the few meetings they've had. I've called him out on that right here in the studio. And he accepted that he had a lot to learn and then didn't really know more. So, whatever. But here we are today. Shane Burgo wants to be elevated to the city council presidency because he wants to run for mayor. It's up to his colleagues where they elevate him. My concerns are that I believe Shane Burgo will use the presidency of the city council to drive his anti-police agenda. His defund the police, criticize the police at any opportunity. So back in October, there was a very rare meeting of the Affordable Housing Committee, chaired by leader of the Shane Denistas, the left-wing city councilor Shane Burgo. He had all the Shane Denistas in the audience, and they were going over a report on homelessness. It was a lengthy report. Shane Burgo admitted he really didn't read it. I could play all that for you, but you're too busy. So I'm going to pick out a moment in time. You can pull this up yourself. It's the October 28th meeting of the Affordable Housing Committee. After a lengthy discussion, of which Shane Burgo really had very little to say, he was chairing it. Here is Shane Burgo pulling out what he really wanted to tell the world about the New Bedford Police Department. Listen to this. This is from the history of the New Bedford City Council. You can find in the archives, folks, October 28th, meeting of the Affordable Housing Committee. Here is the chairman of that committee, the man who wants to be the president of the New Bedford City Council. Now, you don't get to vote for that. Ian Abreu votes for it. Brian Gomes, Naomi Carney, the members of the city council, they vote for their leader. I understand Shane Burgo now has the votes to be the president of the New Bedford City Council. And here's what he's going to do with it, because here's what he's doing with the chairmanship of the Housing Committee. Listen to this.
I think really for the purpose of tonight too, I probably will have Director Amaral come back another time so we can really dive into the TAC report. That will be a fun night. But I'm really excited about a lot of the recommendations. I think the information that we've seen in here, one of the, I think, highlights that kind of stuck out to me that I just want, I think, to get on the record from the administration, which is why I'm asking you, not so much about the information from here, it was about how the unhoused feel in regards to the police department. And a quote from page 29 from the report specifies the city weaponizes police to terrorize the homeless and their destruction of tents and things like that. Mm-hmm. So I'm not sure if you're aware of what happened in Fall River and the
ordinance.
Yes. And their failure to help their homeless, and that's what I'll call as a failure to respond. And so what I will say, a positive to this administration, which I think a lot of...
So that is Shane Burgo. He admits he didn't really read the report, but yet he's got notes there. He found, or someone found for him, an attack on the police. Now, he didn't bring it up in private to the chief of police, which I know he knows how to do. He didn't even question it. He waited until the meeting when he's on television and put it out there that the city of New Bedford is weaponizing the police department against the homeless. That is Shane Burgo using his platform as the chairman of the Housing Committee to pick out a line from a homeless person and amplify it without checking it out. I know he didn't check it out. Amplifies it to the entire world. That the city of New Bedford, by the way, the statement is false. That the city of New Bedford is using the police department, weaponizing the police department to terrorize the homeless. He could have brought that up in private, sent an email, but he didn't. He waited till a public forum when he was on television to score points and to further denigrate the men and women of the New Bedford Police Department. So I ask you folks, is that the man that you want to elevate, you city councilors, to be the leader of your organization, the president of the city council, someone who's going to use every opportunity to publicly attack the brave men and women of the New Bedford Police Department that put on a bulletproof vest for a goddamn reason? They're wearing a bulletproof vest for a reason. Because people kill police. That's the guy, Ian Abreu, you're going to vote to be the leader? You take the endorsement of the police union? We all goddamn know you take their money, and now you're going to turn around and stab him in the back and vote to make him the president of the city council? Brian Gomes, that's your leader? A guy who doesn't ask a question in quiet. No. He uses the TV cameras to tear down the reputation of the police department by quoting a homeless person in a report he hasn't had the opportunity to really read and check out. He amplifies that illegitimate, unfounded charge for the entire city, nay, the entire world. Because that's what he's going to do to the police department. Every opportunity, he twists the knife. Naomi Carney, that's your leader? That's who you're going to vote to be the president of the city council? Folks, I ask you to use your weekend. Call your city councilors. Say, I voted for you, Ian Abreu. I voted for you, Brian Gomes. I voted for you, Sean Oliver. I voted for you, Leo Choquette. Don't take what I gave you to elevate a man like this, to attack the fine men and women of the New Bedford Police Department, who have a dangerous job, an unappreciated job already. That we can't afford to give this guy a bigger platform. He doesn't deserve it. He hasn't earned it. And I don't want you, Ian Abreu, Brian Gomes, Naomi Carney, to use what I've given you to elevate Shane Burgo to a higher platform. The phones are filling up. Let's see what people have to say. Good morning. Thank you for holding. You're live on the air.
Good morning, Chris.
How are you, Mike?
I'm doing okay. I've sat back and listened now, obviously, about this presidency of the city council. I don't think it's the right opinion. Not yours. I'm talking about how they're going to vote. But I think I agree with Barry from yesterday when he said presidency is overblown, and you and I have had that discussion.
Everybody, you know, so Mike, you know that he's doing it because he wants to run for mayor. So he wants the platform of city council president. His colleagues know this. This is real inside baseball, but people deserve to know it. He wants the city council presidency much the way Fred Kalis wanted it, because it gives him a platform to run against the mayor.
I was behind the scenes on Kalis on that. I know exactly what happened, and you are 100% correct.
Right.
No questions asked. That is for sure. The difference being in that scenario is Fred Careless was qualified to be mayor.
Yes.
Fred Careless earned the right to run for mayor. This gentleman will never win a citywide mayoral election. The problem that I think is the difference between then and now is that only 6 or 8% of the voting public in New Bedford decide who becomes mayor.
Right.
So that's a big difference, and I'll give you that.
It's not safe to make him the city council president.
I probably agree with you. I don't want to see him be the city president. Now, council president, excuse me. Now, I understand that some people are going to say, well, Mike Lima don't live in New Bedford any longer. That is true. But Mike Lima has always cared about New Bedford. And you know, and I don't have to toot my own horn, I've been involved since I was a kid. And the one thing that I will say is I don't think this is the right move. If they vote for him as mayor, as city council president, I think there will be some backlash. Again, will 6 or 8% of the people sway enough votes to change the outcome of the election in the city the next time for the council or the mayor if she decided to either take a better position?
Mike, your phone's breaking up on me. I'm interested to hear what you want to say. If you want to call back, you certainly can. We got some other people on hold. 508-996-0500. Good morning. Thanks for calling.
Hey, how's it going?
Not bad. How are you?
Yeah, you're right on point. 100% hitting the nail right on the head. And I can only imagine being an officer out there risking your life and to find out that the city council is, voting this guy. And all he does is degrade the police every chance he gets. Doesn't even do his job. Doesn't read the reports that requires him to to be knowledgeable of what they're there for to begin with. He has to postpone meetings. He hasn't even addressed that report yet, and it's been quite a while. He was presented with a situation in Ward 1 where a place was not treating the homeless people very well. He never showed interest, had no comment, and he's just a fat, lazy slob. And I'm sorry I'm saying it that way, but that's exactly what he is. And he doesn't deserve that position. And any city councilor that puts him in that position should be ashamed of themselves. And I can't see, especially with what's going on in this country right now, someone like Gomes is going to place that guy, the same guy that wants safe injection sites on every corner, wants to place homeless people in tents near a dump. It's absolutely disgraceful that they're even considering that at this situation. Thank you.
Thanks for the call, my friend, as always. 508-996-0500. Should Shane Burgo be the next city council president? What I'm asking is, if you live in the city of New Bedford and you want to put a defund the police, safe injection site, tent city guy on the stage as the city council president, giving him a forum by which he can attack the police and promote all kinds of other crazy ideas, and it's going to be a vote of the city council. It'll be when they reorganize in January. But the city council isn't going to change. It'll be the same members. So you've got a swing vote out there right now. Some people have not made up their mind already. So I would encourage everybody out there, whether you agree with me or disagree with me, whatever. It's a sole vote of the city council, but it really impacts the entire region. So if you care about the city of New Bedford and you have an opinion on it, you should call up your city councilor and tell them how you feel about it. Folks, I got one open phone line, but I got to take a quick break. I'm Chris McCarthy. We'll play more of this when we get back. Stick around. We'll be right back. Wondering, how come none of the city councilors spoke up, right? Well, there was one city councilor who spoke up about what Shane Burgo had done by picking one line out of a report. I don't think he even read it today. Remember, this is back in October, folks. I hang on to this stuff, and I bring it back when it's relevant, right? I do the research, so you don't have to. Was there no city councilor that was going to call him on the carpet for that vicious attack on the police? Unfounded? Well, there was, folks. There was. Thank God for that. I'm going to now play a clip from Sean Oliver, who after a couple of councilors sat silent. I don't know whether intimidated, they've got deals. I don't really know what's going on and how Shane Burgo, leader of the Shane Denises, has rounded up all these votes. Remember, this is the guy who's in favor of rent control. All you little private landlords out there, he wants to decide how much you charge. Does he care if you can make your mortgage payments? No. It's an economic disaster. But did anybody speak up about how he just attacked the police? I want to go back to the meeting. Remember, this is October 28th. Listen to this. This is Sean Oliver, Ward 3 City Councilor.
I mean, before we take no further action on it, if that's the course of action we're looking to take, the chief of police is here. I mean, earlier we heard about, weaponizing our police force to deal with the homelessness. I'd like to hear from Chief Oliveira, since he is here, to kind of speak on that.
I withdraw.
You would not, you said?
I withdraw.
Oh, withdraw. Oh, okay. Chief, and the chair recognizes Council Oliver on his first.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Chief Oliveira, for being here.
Good evening.
I just because, there was something said about, weaponizing a police force to handle the homelessness issue that we have. And I just wanted to give you the opportunity to kind of speak a little bit more about that, how you and your officers address these individuals as, the situation arises.
Yeah, so my response to that, it's fake news. Absolutely false. We've never been asked. As you know, many of you have called for homelessness issues in your districts. And my response to you all has always been, we will activate the HOT protocol and we treat those people with dignity. Whether they're homeless, whether it's mental health, no different than anyone else. So our officers will respond and we'll check out the situation. We'll notify the people if they're present in the encampment, and then we actively initiate the protocol, which would be to notify Lindsay Montero's office, contact Stephanie Sloan, obviously Danielle is a huge partner in that, and our own outreach workers will follow up. And as most of you know, because you will repeatedly call me and say, they're still there. And I'm like, I'm well aware. It takes time. And that's the process we do here in New Bedford. We treat them with dignity. It takes time. We try to get them alternate housing. As you know, most of it is just not a housing issue. It's mental health, it's sicknesses, it's ailments. It might involve St. Luke's many times. It's a process. And there's no one solution. I know not for the police department. It's a sensitive issue. And as you all heard, I know some of you don't like hearing it, it's not just a New Bedford issue. I go to meetings with major city chiefs. Personally, I think we're doing a lot better than other city chiefs when I hear the way they deal with homelessness. There are some communities that don't have much patience for the homeless. I think we do, or I know our police department does. So, but I can, there's always someone, as you know, who will say worst case scenario about the police and about other public entities. But I'd like to know that person who said that, their personal experience, and address that if that's the case, because I can assure you that's not what the New Bedford Police represents.
I didn't think so, and I thank you for your elaborating on that. When you and your team, your officers are dispatched to a situation, do you guys stay on scene until a member of the HEART team comes? What's that transition like? Is it the officers just go to the scene and speak with the individuals, and then you guys initiate the HEART team to go at a later date, or how does that work, just for the general public to?
Yeah, so normally if a call's initiated about a tent, it's not even dispatched. We send it to our outreach workers. And usually our outreach workers will start notifying the protocol, or they'll stop by the tent to make sure it's still occupied. Often, right, there's no one there if you go during the day.
So folks, do you understand that? What Shane Burgo said isn't even real. In other words, that's why the chief is saying that's fake news. He said, normally we get a 911, we don't even dispatch police. We send the caseworkers. So it doesn't even happen in New Bedford the way Shane tried to make it sound. And this is the guy. You heard in this, the chief is a diplomat, okay? He's a diplomat. I'm not. The chief says there's always a guy who's going to say the worst thing about the police, right? I'm paraphrasing. That guy is Shane Burgo. And that's the guy I hear the grapevines telling me Ian Abreu is going to make the city council president. Shows Brian Gomes, Naomi Carney, not Sean Oliver. Sean Oliver is the voice of reason there. Brought the chief of police up to let him clear the good name of the men and women of the chief of police. The rest of them sat silent. Sat silent. While the police are maligned by Shane Burgo. Why did they sit there? Because they're going to elevate him to be the city council president. Give him a bigger platform. They know they made their deals. Many of them want to get out of it. I say, just tell Shane he's the wrong man at the wrong time. The world changed. If they made deals before he attacked the police in October, those deals are off. You don't live up to that. Not after that outrageous performance. Anyway, 508. I got a bunch of people on hold. Good morning. Thanks for holding.
Yeah, good morning.
Morning.
I think, Shane Burgo is a little late to the party. The whole defund the police movement, I think, is proof to fail tremendously. And we see a lot of the communities, activists that initiated these calls are realizing they made a mistake. I think he was trying to capitalize on a movement that failed, and he's a little late to the party. And these people, he may have a segment of the city that may agree with it, but if it came to a citywide vote, and that's what these councils have to remember, sooner or later, they will come up to vote. I think, tell me if I'm wrong, didn't Trump get the percentage of votes on Southeastern Mass? And we know his policy is on these issues. He's not speaking for the people. He's speaking, if he is, he's speaking for a very, very small part of the community, probably the criminal part of the community. Thank you.
Thank you, my friend. Thanks for the call, as always. 508-996-0500. We got a lot of people that want to chime in on this. Good morning. Thanks for holding.
Hi, Chris. How's it going?
Not bad. How are you doing?
So tell me how you really feel about Burgo. I think that the situation is with the city council is that obviously there's a little bit of a chasm between them and the corner office, and they make their own sort of deals along the way. Mm-hmm. So this coalition that's been formed, either a coalition of 5 or sometimes there's a coalition of 8. They cut these different deals for committeeships and stuff like that. And if you look closely back to the city council, you always find that each one of them has a turn to be the city council president. Nobody goes undaunted who's been there for a couple of years. As a matter of fact, the guy who waited the longest was Abreu. He didn't get the votes, and I think his personality had a lot to do with that, although he's a personable guy, but he couldn't muster the votes. I don't foresee any change in the current position of those councilors, unfortunately. And that change has to be made by those of us 16% that vote.
Yes.
So if they don't vote in the manner that you see fit, even after speaking to them, you need to let them know that. And the best way to do that is your X or your connecting line in the ballot box doesn't line up with their name. But I don't see them switching. I don't, because in the long run, just as you've mentioned in very few words, they're all a bunch of cowards. So let's take that to the bank and see where it goes. But thanks for bringing up the topic. It's a good one.
Thank you, my friend, as always. 508-996-0500. That's how you can get on the program. I am curious how people feel about this because, again, the vote doesn't happen, but the formation is going on now, the jockeying, the recruiting. Will you vote for me? Right? Shane Burgo started months ago lining up the votes, and it looks like he may have it. But remember, folks, this is the guy who's for rent control. This is the guy who's for safe injection sites. The guy for tent cities in Ward 1. This is the guy who just maligned the police, that the chief of police had to get up and say, the story Shane Burgo just told is fake news. And now city councilors are going to select their leader, and this very well may be their leader. Now, let me say something. Shane Burgo is not like you. He doesn't pay property taxes in the city of New Bedford. He's at the stage in his life where he is yet to, maybe never will, own a home, pay property taxes like you do. So how can the city council elect a guy who's got nothing in common with the vast majority of taxpayers? And he's also the one who led the left-wing group that killed off the Business Improvement District. And now they're going to elevate him. Many of those councilors, like Abreu and other people, were in favor of the Business Improvement District. But now they're going to elevate a leader who sabotaged it? I don't think so. If you're on hold, I will get to you, but I do have to take a break. I'm Chris McCarthy. We'll be right back. It's a vote of the city council, but you can call your city councilor, send them an email. If you know them personally, drop by their house and say hello and tell them you don't want them to vote for Shane Burgo to be the city council president, and that if they do, you'll think differently of them. Again, we elect Brian Gomes because we think he's in favor of the police. We elect Ian Abreu, Naomi Carney, because we think they're in favor of the police. Leo Choquette, because we know he's in favor of the police. But for them, and Leo's not going to do it. Leo has assured me he is not going to vote for Shane Burgo. You know, the other thing that Shane is against is Shot Spotter. You know that device the city has all over the city to detect gunshots so the police can race to the scene? He's opposed to that. Why? Who knows? But he's opposed to Shot Spotter. That, to me, would be a dangerous direction for the city to go in. 508-996-0500. Good morning. Thanks for holding.
Morning, Chris. How are you?
I'm not bad. How are you doing?
This wonderful subject comes up every once in a while. If the city council president is a step away from being the mayor, right?
Exactly.
Right. So what do you expect in a mayor? You expect leadership, which is really rare. It's not something everybody has. Like when Mayor Scott Lang is on your show and he speaks, he only has to say 2 lines, and you can tell that he's a leader. I mean, he's thoughtful, he's serious, he's deliberate. Shane Burgo is just the opposite. Whenever I've heard him, whenever he's spoken council meetings, he's underexperienced, number one. So you want a person to be the mayor, possibly, that's underexperienced, a person that takes his marching orders not from his own agenda or even from the people. He clearly takes his marching orders from initiatives from non-government agencies, people that are working in the city that are trying to get policies through.
The Coalition for Social Justice.
Coalition for Social Justice, exactly. He's not a serious person. He giggles through everything, and he's silly. I mean, if the city council was Gilligan's Island, he's Gilligan. I mean, and so you have to ask yourself, if there's only however many at-large and ward councilors have to vote on this,
11.
They need to get off of Gilligan's Island, and they need to vote properly, because they're voting for a leader for not only the city council, but could be the mayor.
Yes.
And if they vote for him, they should be overturned, because they're not serious either.
That's a great observation. Don't make Shane Burgo Gilligan the head of the island, right? City council, the vote is in your hands. People who look, It's going to be hard for me to respect people if they vote for Shane Burgo. I'm going to be very honest with you about that. There's a lot of people on that council I disagree with from time to time, but the majority of them I respect as civil servants. But I'll think differently, a lot differently, of people who vote for Shane Burgo. Out of that whole group, that's the leader? That's the leader? And maybe you got caught in a soft moment and you agreed to vote for him. But the world has changed. And he's just not the right guy at the right time. And I hope city councilors recognize that this isn't going to be a one-off vote. It's going to follow you, city councilors. It's going to follow you. Good morning. Thanks for holding.
Good morning, Chris. How are you?
I'm not bad. How are you doing?
Doing okay. A little chilly, but...
Yes, a little chilly, right?
Yeah. Hey, but everything that your previous callers have said, they're correct. I'll say Shane Burgo, he's a nice guy. I've spoken to him.
Yeah, nice guy. I agree.
Right. But politically, we're not on the same page. That's a definite. This city is at a point where we need leadership. What happened with taxes, the opera, the water and sewer funds, we need somebody that's going to drive the bus so that we can, curtail the city budget and make sure that this city heads in the right direction. The stuff about everything that he stands for and what he likes is not in the best interest of the city of New Bedford. The one thing I know is it's a roll call vote.
Yes.
So that roll call vote, whoever votes for him will not receive my vote. I'll state that right now. Nothing against Shane Burgo, once again.
Right, nice guy.
Yes, it's political. I just want what's best for the city. What the council did last year in going after that budget, if they didn't do that, our taxes would have been a lot higher.
Yes.
And so there's only one person to blame for the tax rate, what we're paying for taxes, and that's the mayor. He creates the budget. And this is a message to him, too, because statewide, nationally wide, the voters have spoken. They're done with all this reckless spending and all these liberal initiatives. It's time to get our house in order. And come this issue here, it's very, very important to everybody. I'll reach out to the councilors and let them know. But like I say, I agree with most of your callers. This is a very, very important issue, and Shane Burgo can't be the president of the council.
Thank you for the call, my friend. I got to take a break. We'll be right back.